we've talked enough American football here, Simon, and I know Whittingham's just been waiting for. I mean, he's wanted to get you on this pod here forever, and this is the reason. So for part 5, I am just going to back off right now. I'm just going to turn off my mic and let you guys talk a little soccer.
Go check your email and your texts. You got other things to do.
Yeah. I got other things to do. Just go.
All right. So by the way, the impetus for this is in a few weeks' time, we'll actually be launching a soccer podcast, a football podcast on this network. On my IMDb page, it would be unnamed podcast. So if you have any ideas, tweet them to me at Chris Whittingham or at 5 Reasons Sports, and we'll maybe include your suggestion. But obviously, with that sort of coming in mind, I wanted to launch around 2 major landmark events: the Champions League final and the World Cup. So we'll be doing a ton of World Cup coverage this summer, even with the United States not in it. It does not reduce my interest in this World Cup one iota. Obviously, it's a bummer, but I'm still really into the World Cup. And then the Champions League final, and I figured, Simon, you're on with us. You went to Anfield last week for the 5-2. You've been to Anfield a lot for a lot of the big Champions League nights, the European nights at Anfield, which I'm just so envious that you get to go to this incredible cathedral of football with. Is there a better sort of night in European football than an Anfield night? I not for my money. But so what have those nights been like? The 5-2 against Roma in the quarterfinal as well. I mean, these have just been incredible home matches against Manchester City. You know what? For a moment, I had forgotten it, and it's because I wanted to forget it because I'm a Manchester City fan. What have those European nights been like, Simon?
When you're sitting here talking about it, I've got the biggest smile on my face. It's amazing. It's amazing being a Liverpool fan at the moment. I mean, it really is, and it's hard to put into words what it's like. You know, I've never been to the Big House, and I've never been to Wisconsin to watch the Badgers play college football, or some of those kind of incredible, what seem like incredible experiences. I've been to Tuscaloosa, see Alabama, but nothing comes close. And it's hard. It is hard to put into words because it feels like cliche, and it feels like how could it be any better than Villanova winning the national championship or and those kind of things. But it is. I mean, I can genuinely feel the hair on the back of my neck standing up as I talk about it. There's just obviously everything's closer in because the field is, it's not like the NFL. It's not like, going to watch the U play. Everybody's slightly closer in. And Anfield is an old stadium, has a new stand, but it's old and it's historic and it's just beautiful. The noise, there's just something about the noise in there and I don't know whether you have it in American sport. And, I've been to enough games, college games, NFL games, baseball games, the Seattle Mariners. I don't know if that counts, but I mean, there's something about when a goal is scored, the kind of hugging and passion with total strangers. You can be there with a group of friends, but it only really feels right when you're in the arms of the stranger behind you, because that shared experience is something so great. So last week for the 5-2 against Roma, Liverpool in the semi-final of the Champions League, 2-legged game. We go 1-0 up, and that's an incredible moment. And you're like, this is happening. 2-0 up is amazing. When the third goal went in, I turned to the man behind me, the two men behind me, and we sit in the same seats for every home game. So the people around you. We don't know their names, but we see them every week, and we're friendly. And whenever there's a goal, we all celebrate together, and it's lovely. But I buried my head into these two guys' chests, and I could feel the emotion build up inside me because it means that much. It really does mean that much. And the fourth and the fifth goals went in. And I was lucky enough to be in Istanbul in 2005 for the Champions League final where Liverpool, where Liverpool were 3-0 down and came back to win on penalties. So and I was there. I was at the opposite end where all the goals went in, but it was the most incredible experience. I have 2 children, so the birth of my 2 children and the night in Istanbul are the 3 greatest things that have ever happened to me. To be 3-0 down at half time, and I can remember standing on my seat in that stadium with my friend. The 2 of us went out there and we paid £400 cash for a ticket. We had to give this random stranger £800. A guy turned up at the door in a motorbike helmet, took £800 cash and said, I'll be back in 2 hours with these tickets. We didn't know who this guy was. We know nothing about him. And we were just like, dude, we've just given £800 to a complete stranger. So I stood on my seat at half time at 3-0 down and I had tears running down my face. We'd come a long way. And, I said to my friend, I can't believe we paid £1,000 for this BS. There were kind of disillusionment all around us. There was fights were breaking out. Liverpool fans on Liverpool fans who were frustrated because of just how terribly we performed and the fact that there was such a kind of a anti-climax. And then all of a sudden the anthem that You'll Never Walk Alone that we sing at all games suddenly started to ring out around the stadium. And the Milan fans who'd been so noisy where all of a sudden they had these flags, these plastic flags, they waved throughout half time. And why wouldn't you? They were 3-0 up. And all of a sudden the entire stadium just became this kind of take me to church moment. It was everybody started singing. The fans shut up. They stopped waving their flags. And then the players suddenly came out. And you could see the Liverpool players looking around as if to say, we're 3-0 down. Why are they singing? And it was like the most incredible atmospheric performance of this song you've ever heard. And then all of a sudden we score 3 goals and it's 3-3. And at 3-1, you think, okay, we've scored a goal, that's fine. You celebrate because it's the European Cup final. And then at 3-2, you're like, oh my God, this is on. And you go really mad. And then at 3-3, I can remember, and I was actually saying this to my girlfriend 3 nights ago, that when the third goal went in, I ended up 6 rows further down than from where my seat was. In part because other people are just, and by this time, everybody's standing on their seats. And I suppose it must be akin to kind of crowd surfing at a concert. But all of a sudden, my friend who was stood next to me, and we had our arms around each other because it was kind of tense, and there were way more people in the stadium than there were supposed to be. I mean, if there were 365 seats on my row, there were 410 people stood there, so you couldn't really sit down. So everybody was stood up. But as the goal went in, there was just a kind of a huge wave, and I literally remember being kind of 5 or 6 rows, just hugging and kind of crying with these guys around me, never met before, trying to find my friend who was now kind of 10 rows in the opposite direction. And it was just the most insane, incredible night. Nights at Anfield in the Champions League are just like that. They are emotive, and the football team is such an integral part of the community. And the club kind of belongs to the fans in a kind of way that the Green Bay Packers belongs to the people of Wisconsin, to the people of Green Bay. It's that sort of feeling that the club kind of transcends the city in a way, that there's just something special about that team and the history of that club. And yeah, I mean, I'm so nervous about Wednesday night. Even though we're leading 5-2, the second leg in Rome, as long as we win the game or we don't concede 3 goals, we're through to the final. And I said a while ago, I think we can win this final. And if we get through against Roma on Wednesday night, I will be incredibly nervous, but I will be. I think we will win the Champions League, and I will be desperately trying to get out to Kiev to go and see yet another big Liverpool final. But fingers crossed they're going to get there. And listen, if you're ever over here, I will take you to the church, to the cathedral.
Oh, God, I'd love to do that. Absolutely. So I want to run through a few rapid-fire questions with you as it relates to the footballing aspects of this. So you mentioned the fear you have. On a scale of 1 to 10, how palpable is that fear, that Roma? And to me, one of the fascinating things about this competition is that it's kind of changed in the last few years, where if you get a big home result, if you're 3-0 up, if you're 4-1 up, there's no coming back from that. But the way that, obviously, Barcelona coming back against PSG, Juventus against Real Madrid, even though they didn't finish the job, Roma just in the last round to Barcelona, there have been these big turnarounds in these aggregate ties that even at 5-0 up, it's not over yet. And so how palpable is that fear after Roma get 2 away goals and they haven't conceded at home in the Champions League in the entire competition?
If 10 is kind of heart attack nerves, I'm 48 hours away from the game. I'm probably at 12 already. So, I mean, and we've got a 3-goal lead as well, but I shouldn't be this nervous. But I mean, I am. And Wednesday will be I'll be a wreck. And it's worse not being in the stadium as well. When you're in the stadium, you feel like you can control what's going on a little bit. You can feel like you're involved.
You're sharing the emotions with other people who feel the same way.
Absolutely. There's 55,000 other people going through the same thing. Whereas if you're at home or in a bar, there's only a handful of people. And yeah, I'm so nervous now, and it's only Monday night, and we've still got 48 hours, just under 48 hours to go, and I will be bricking it as we say over here. I will not be and I think every Liverpool fan who's not in Rome will be exactly the same. It'll be one of those things that you just have to go through, and fingers crossed we'll come out the other side.
Do you have a preference as to who you'd rather play? Because the other semifinal is going to be played before the Liverpool one. We're taping this before Bayern Munich take on Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Bayern 2-1 down on aggregate and also behind on away goals after Madrid got the 2-1 result there. Do you have a preference as to who you want to play in the final?
Listen, I think we'll be both of them. I mean, I think Real Madrid will get into the final, but I just think we have too much for them. I think going forwards, if we get there, I think Mo Salah against Marcelo on the right hand side, I think is a mismatch in terms of I don't think they'll be able to handle. I don't think Sergio Ramos will be able to handle Roberto Firmino. I think Mane will have too much speed on the other side. I think midfield, technically they have more gifted midfield players, but the industry that we have in midfield, I think will work against Real Madrid. In terms of them, the press that Liverpool play in terms of shutting down players on the ball so quickly and so. We hunt in packs for the ball. I don't think Real Madrid's skill players will be able to handle that. And often it will come down to Ronaldo, as it so often does. But, in Virgil van Dijk, he's as good a player as Ronaldo will play against all season long. And if you can cut out that service, then I think, Liverpool have got an outstanding chance if we get there. It's a big if. We've talked about ifs a lot this night, but I fancy us against either side. But I think it will be Real Madrid in the final.
And here's one for you, because you have the perspective of being in England. This is where we'll close on the proper football aspect of this. When I'm talking with my friends, I'm on a group chat, and all we talk about is soccer all day. And from an American point of view, I think the Champions League is a bigger title to win than the Premier League. Like I'm a City fan, so obviously because we're 20 points clear in the league or whatever it is, and we've won it. For me, it's still a big deal to win the Premier League. But all my friends say I'd rather win the Champions League. What would you say as a Liverpool fan who has not won the league since 1990 is the bigger trophy for you guys to win? Even obviously you've won the European Cup. You mentioned the night in Istanbul, but which is the bigger trophy to win in your mind?
I think winning the league is the bigger trophy, but it's different because to win a league title is a 38-game season. So, for example, for you as a Manchester City fan, you don't have that moment that it's all played out in 90 minutes and then you win something at the end of 90 minutes.
Climax too, with West Brom deciding it for us.
Absolutely.
It's such a bummer.
Exactly, which Liverpool haven't won the Premier League or the league title now for more than 20 years, or longer than that, in fact. But so that in a way is back to the Holy Grail for us. We need, as a club, to get back to winning league titles because that's what we've always done, and we're overtaken by Manchester United in terms of the number of league titles that we've won a couple of seasons ago, and we need to get back to winning that. But there is something special about winning a trophy, to go and play mano-a-mano against somebody for 90 minutes, knowing that a trophy as important as the European Cup that's had such an incredible history with Liverpool. We've won it 5 times. We feel like it's our trophy. Real Madrid have won it more. A couple of other teams have won it more. But for us, our history as a football club is intertwined with those incredible 77 in Rome in 83, and then obviously in Istanbul in 2005. Just the history of the European Cup and what it's meant to Liverpool, and some of those incredible moments, incredible games winning the European Cup or the Champions League as it now is. It's a tough one. As a Liverpool fan, I have to say that winning the league is more important. But as a purist, winning the Champions League is just a beautiful thing. And I should know because, I've been there, unlike Manchester City.
Throwing it back in my face. All right, Ethan. All right, Ethan. You can come back now. Ethan.
Oh, I'm still here. I've been listening to the whole thing. So actually, I put something up on Twitter asking people for name suggestions for your pod. So we got a few of them. The Beautiful Game, Witty on Footy. I'm not sure if we're going to go with that one. Extra Time, the Premier Pod, and Soccer Room Talk. But I think I know what direction you're actually going. So if anybody has anything that goes with the word pitch in any way, I have a feeling that's where this is headed. But definitely check that out again. That pod is going to launch here on our network in the next few weeks. If you want to get on board too, we recommend you check out @AdSpaceWolf. That's 2 F's at the end. We partner with them for sponsorships. We're going to be looking for those for the soccer pod as well. We already have a lot of people who are interested in that. Simon, thanks for being so charitable with your time with us and for showing Whittingham what a proper English accent should sound like.
Absolutely. So that harsh kind of... I've heard rumours about that English accent, Chris. I'm disappointed you didn't pull it out this evening.
The one fear I have is doing it for Englishmen because, I did it for one. I went to London. The reason why I became a City fan is because we went to London as a family, and the only game in London that weekend was at Fulham, and it was Man City away to Fulham. And so, my first season really following the Premier League was when Sergio Aguero won it in the dying moments of the season, and that for me was such a cool moment. Then I'm seeing the team in person. I was like, all right, I'm there. But so I only did the accent for a cab driver there, and he was giving me pointers on it. So other than that, I generally don't do it for Englishmen.
Good stuff. No, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.